Alright, got the chassis removed. Some of the knobs are missing. I actually found reproductions on the internet. These go for 10 bucks each. These go for 12 bucks each. So pretty fortunate that they're still made. Got a little some build up in here. Okay, here we go. This is called an American 5 style radio. It does not have a power transformer. It runs on 120 volts. AC goes through this thing. The only transformer in here is to run the speaker. And so I had to read back up on these things. But they went to this design so they wouldn't have to put a big, expensive, heavy power transformer in these. And these tubes are all in series, so if any of the tubes fails, then the radio won't play. The face is in really great shape. And underneath here, all the original capacitors are in it. I'd be surprised if these things are still good. Some of them are probably still good. This one here, it's 4 capacitors in one, so if that was bad, I wouldn't be able to find the values all built into one anymore. But what you can do is get the individual capacitors, and if you're a real purist, no one's gonna look under here anyway. You can just put 4 of the capacitors to replace this. But if you're like a hardcore restorer, and you'd know, then you can actually take these apart. You can heat these up, slide the guts out, and then solder up the appropriate values and stuff them inside this original package. And some of the guys even do it for here, the ones that are really hardcore. I don't do that. I just solder in modern style capacitors, similar to what's on this old TV chassis. You can see this one's in progress. I haven't gotten them all changed yet, but no one's going to see underneath here. I want the television to work, so I'm not going to get all crazy on trying to restuff wax capacitors. The only time I'll restuff is, like I said, for a big one like that. You know, if you're low on room. Check this out. Pretty clean and unmolested. That domino looking thing is also a capacitor. You have to get a chart to read the color code on those. Well, I don't see anything burned up in here, so I'm gonna plug this into the variac and bring it up slowly. Oh, one other thing of note, this is called, these American 5s without the transformer, these are also hot chassis. So originally there would have been rubber insulators that insulate it from the main body, and you want that to be in place because you can get, depending on which way you plug this in, you can get 120 volts to the chassis. So if you're grounded good, barefooted or something on the ground, you can get zapped from this thing. And then this is a non-polarized plug. This is the original plug. A lot of guys will change this to the more modern plug, the polarized plug that has the large blade on one side. That the large blade goes to neutral, and the thin blade would be hot. So on this one you could do it either way. One way it wouldn't zap you, and the other way you'd touch 120 volts. So word of caution. So I've got this hooked up to a variac, and I have the variac hooked up to an isolation transformer. So if I go hot on the chassis, this is isolated just to this stuff here. It doesn't go to the house ground, to earth. So there's not going to be a big potential for me to ground out on anything. This keeps me from riding the lightning when you're working on a hot chassis radio. Now I need to be able to pick up a station also, so I think I'll hook up my AM transmitter. One other thing I forgot to mention is I like to run a watt meter. Okay, I'm broadcasting on a station 1100 via iHeartRadio on my cell phone. See if anything happens here. Okay, here we go. $11 watts. Select came on. Oh, that sound. We're not even powered up all the way. $17, looking good. There we go. 23 watts. It's making noise. It's on. Can't tell if that's on. Those other ones aren't transparent. I see a heater on that one. Well, there's the heater for that one. So these black RCAs are in question. See if I can get some signal to it. I can't get anything to play through it. I'm plumbed directly to it, to the antenna lead. Make it crackle a little bit. All the tubes are heated up. I'm gonna flip this thing on its back and take a thermal image of the underside. Let's see, those two are resistors. And then the underside of the tubes, the tube sockets. See anything alarming. Well, that's the best I can get right now. I'm going to do a little research. I tested the tubes. 2 of them are bad. This one actually vibrates when it's plugged in. That's pretty weird. So maybe that's causing the hum through the speaker. And the rest of them were okay. So I got to see if I've got 2 tubes in my collection. I've got a lot to dig through. I replaced all the capacitors in it, so I'm making progress. Okay, I finally got the volume problem fixed on this. It was a resistor, incorrect value resistor. I replaced the resistors with the color codes that were on them, and I got this thing to play softly. You know, it had a bunch of components that were bad. Outer tolerance resistors and dead capacitors, dead filter caps. And I'll show you some of the work. This was the first radio I started working on, so I've got hours and hours and hours on here. So this is my practice radio, practice repair. So all this stuff is new. There's only a couple components that were good. I left them in there, but most of the resistors, all the paper and all the electrolytic capacitors were replaced. And I've still got to do an alignment now that I've done a couple of preliminary alignments on it, but I got to do the final alignment on it before I reassemble it. Go set this down. So I've got my AM transmitter going. I'm just piping in some music off of Amazon Prime. This is as loud as it would get before, with it maxed out, and then it would distort. So now it's really putting out. Alright, we'll take a little break and see about reassembling some of this stuff. Wanted to document a hot chassis radio. So depending on which way you plug this into the wall, the chassis is hot on this thing. So the way I have it plugged in now, nothing. Radio's off. But if I merely flip this non-polarized plug over, boom, there's 119 volts on this chassis. So if I would touch it and be grounded, this thing would knock the crap out of me. So I'm going to put a polarized cord on this so the chassis can't be hot. Okay, just checking my work before I solder this in permanently. Just have it tacked. So anyway, the big blade is your neutral, little blade is hot. So it can only plug in one way. I've got my meter connected to the neutral up here. And go to the chassis, nothing. Here's the hot wire coming in from the cord, 119. And then the other side, neutral, and once again to the case. It's cold. Well, now the case is hot with it turned on. These have swapped. No, that's still hot. Whoa. What the fuck happened there? That's just a fucking meter. So do you want it to be hot when it's on or hot when it's off? What to do? I'm not sure what what's the best. Well, that sucks. I'm not sure what the safest thing to do is. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. Turn it off. Now it's cold. Oh, what the heck? I'm gonna have to do something here. Okay, I'm going back together with it. I was able to order reproduction insulators. This electrically insulates the hot chassis from the outer shell. So that's one safety feature. And then I replaced, let's see here, these insulators are rotted out, so I replaced them with grommets. So there it is. That one and that one. That electrically insulates these controls, and it makes everything float. So these posts will be hot. So you definitely have to have the knobs on these.